Okay, last we have Lisa Altieri of Climate Solutions Net, which I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are in 25 states? Wow. So Lisa is founder and CEO of Climate Solutions Net, with a mission of empowering people on climate solutions. CSN's online platform provides users a fun, easy way to learn about solutions and specific actions they can take, including action resources, robust carbon analytics, progress tracking, and then connects users to work together in communities to motivate action. Think Fitbit meets Nextdoor for climate solutions. Lisa's background is a unique blend of experience, including data analytics, business management, and grassroots organizing, including organizing over 5,000 volunteers as volunteer regional field organizer for the Obama campaign in 2012. Lisa has a BS and an MS in environmental economics from UC Berkeley. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you for being here. And I think you might still be on mute, but we can see your slide. There you are.
I was trying to get to the mute button behind the slide and yeah, it was hiding. So thank you so much for the invitation to join. And I'm so excited to wrap up this amazing conference. It's been incredible listening into the work that everyone's doing. And
all day, I was like, "Aw, thanks for being here, Lisa. This is cool."
It's great. So I'm going to talk about engaging and empowering people on climate solutions. So all the work that everyone is doing that's presented today and yesterday is all focused on this goal of making the shift, making this transition. And at the end of the day, getting people engaged in that conversation, bringing them into the conversation, helping them understand what to do, helping them with the resources and things that they need to go and actually take these actions is the end goal. And so I'm going to start off by talking about 3 numbers. So the first number, if I can get, come on. All right, let me see if I can get this to advance here. There we go. 40%, oops. Okay, apologies. Okay, so 40% of US emissions come from 5 basic household activities that we do every day. So our electricity use, our use of home heating fuels, our transportation, our food choices, and our waste stream. So those 5 things that we all do in our households every day, on the aggregate, make up 40% of US emissions. That's huge. That was something that I didn't know, that I found out that was really, really surprising. And so that's the first number. The second number is that, and the second fact is that now, for the first time ever, pretty much as of now, we have affordable and accessible solutions for all 5 of those. So due to all of the work a lot of you have done, bringing heat pump technology into feasibility for the household level, EVs becoming viable and more affordable. They're not quite there entirely for everyone yet, but they're well on their way to making tracks to becoming a widely available, accessible, and affordable option. So all of these solutions that have been coming online and the costs going down, including solar and other renewable energy sources, is creating a situation where for the first time ever now, we have the opportunity for households to take actions and lower or eliminate their emissions in those 5 categories, and at the same time save money. So the average household now can save between $1,000 and $3,000 a year by taking the common solutions across the household decarbonization pathway. That's amazing. So the last and the final number is 66%. So Yale climate communication studies over time have tracked public perceptions around climate and how many people are concerned. And the most recent update of their 6 Americas study showed that 66%, 2/3 of Americans, believe this is happening, they're worried about it, and they feel a personal responsibility and want to help and want to do something. The problem is that they don't know where to start and they don't know what to do. So the level of understanding across the public in the US around what the solutions to climate change are and what people can do to help is challenging. And so our mission at Climate Solutions Net is to create an ability for anyone to find it easy, simple, easy, and fun to learn about the solutions and how they can lower their household impact. And of course, beyond that, we also include information on what they can do beyond their household. So what we did was we created a platform. And so our platform is now up and live nationally. We haven't actually even announced it yet, but you'll find it here at werenew.net. And anyone in the US can now come here, put in their state, put in their city, and be brought into a local regional instance of our platform and create an account and start to learn how they can reduce their impact at home and beyond. So once the user creates an account, I'm just going to walk you through and show you how it works. They're brought into the platform after they get a nice little welcome message, and they're given 3 tasks to get started. So the first is an energy profile, is what we call it. When you start a new platform, often you have to set up a profile. So we're calling it an energy profile. And that's the questions. We ask a few questions so that they can discover what their starting point is. Where are they starting in their impact on those 5 basic household activities? And then we also use that information to create analytics around the savings and impact of the actions that they could take. So the second step is for them to choose and find actions and choose which actions they want to do. And then the other is we encourage them to become part of a community. So those are the 3 things that we encourage people to do to get started. The energy profile is not required, but they get a lot more information if they do it. And joining or starting a community is also not required, but it's strongly encouraged. So these are the 3 things to get started. I'm just going to walk through each one really quickly. The energy profile here is a set of questions that are designed to be really easy for folks to move through and answer a few questions about what they're doing now. And we have an automatic data link via utility API that allows about 45% of US households to even enter their data automatically through a data link, which is really easy to do. And utility API is expanding their reach and adding more utilities all the time. So we're looking forward to that being even a larger number of households soon. And then we ask about transportation, the ways people get around, air travel, cars, and then food and waste. And once they fill this out, then they are taken here where they can see the results and what is their starting impact. So it covers those categories I just mentioned. So electricity use, home heating fuels, transportation, we split into land and air, and then we have food and waste here together. So this gives everyone an idea of what does this look like? Where am I starting from? And then we also show folks how they compare. So the average impact per person for those 5 household categories of emissions is 10 tons in the US. We have a localized number across the US. Wherever you live, there'll be a localized number for your area of what your local impact is, average per household. And then we throw in the UK, China, and India for a little bit of relative education about our oversized impact here in the US. And we set an encouraging goal of everyone reducing down to 2 tons per person by 2030. That is 2 tons for those basic 5 categories of household emissions. Given that we have solutions today for all 5 that are affordable and becoming more affordable, this is actually a viable target for people to reach. So once they discovered their impact, then the next step is to explore actions. So here there's 2 ways right now today for people to explore actions. The first one is our action categories. And so here they may say, okay, I just learned that transportation was my biggest impact area, so maybe I should look at the transportation section. So I want to learn how to shift my ride. And we give a little education here about what are the big movements you can make. So if you need to drive a car, consider going electric or plug-in hybrid and save big. And then, or alternative transportation options like train, carpool, biking. So we give a little overview, and then we show actions that relate to that category. And so I'm going to focus in here on the clean energy home category because that's why we're here today. So here at the Clean Energy Home, we educate renewable energy plus efficient electric heat pump heating and electric appliances equal a clean green home. So we really help people to start to understand, and we're actually about to add in what we call a learning action that will be in this category as well, that will just say, what is a clean energy home? And it'll be a quick read where people can read and really learn what it means to be a clean energy home. So since I happen to be on the Palo Alto site right now, you're not seeing a green electricity action. You would see that if I was somewhere where green electricity wasn't the default. So we usually have the green electricity and solar panel actions here. We have also solar hot water systems, and then you'll see right here the heat pump, water heating and space heating, home battery participating in demand response, and then if you have gas clothes dryer or stove and oven, then we're also talking about fuel switching. So here we're educating, we're helping people to understand what this is. So right here, we know that this is a new thing. So we start off with what kind of heater, and we help people to understand what is a heat pump, water heater. And so helping people understand that these are highly efficient electrics. They're not your resistance electric. They're not the old electric that people think of that are so expensive. And then we help them understand, what is it going to cost? What is the impact going to be? What is it going to look like? And we provide information on the action to help them understand more. So if you don't need the information, you don't have to read this. If you are just going to call a contractor and say, I want this, then great. But if you want to learn more, then we have an introduction which tells you a little bit about the action. What is this action and why is it important? Why did we include it here? And then we have between 2 and 5 steps that help walk you through. So obviously for heat pump water heaters, there's a little bit of content here because these are things that people have questions about. It's a new technology, it's not that familiar. So we want to talk about how does it work and why choose it? Well, there's a long list. You can save money, there's often rebates, there's a big impact, and it also could even help in the future balance the grid. So we talk about things like what is the cost? And when do you upgrade and how do you prepare to upgrade? And then you want to choose your water heater, hire your contractor, and then of course set the best settings for you to make sure that you're getting the best efficiency and the best response and experience out of your heat pump technology. And then of course, the most important thing here is helping people see that there's actually credits, there's rebates, there's financing options, there's programs that can help them with this. So we link in, when we have local partners, we work to link in all of the programs that are available for the residents in that or the people in that area. And so this becomes a program that really makes it easy for people to learn, hey, I want to take action. How do I become a clean energy home? And so there's also another way for users to search the site. And so we just added this in where they can get some recommendations based on their preferences. So maybe impact is the most important thing to them, and they are a homeowner, then they will see heat pump, water heater, electric vehicle, things like that rise right up to the surface. And all of these results, if they completed their energy profile, all the analytics on those estimates on impact and savings are actually based on their energy profile information as well. So, or maybe right now savings is most important to them, and upfront cost being less than $50 that's where they're at, and that's what matters to them, and that's what they want to do to focus on. And that is fantastic. It's easy to focus on saving money and low upfront cost. And at the same time, all of the actions in the system are focused on also having a climate impact. So this allows people a really easy way to explore. And then also I wanted to point out as well here, I didn't talk about the analytics. My background is data analytics and modeling for a number of years. And so we have a really, really robust backend carbon calculator and savings calculator. So when a user comes to the site, there's some actions they get to answer a question, and they can immediately see these savings and dollar savings, resource savings, and points update. So the way our calculator works is we have a very localized custom set of data that drives the data model. So for every person, regardless of where you live in the US, we have data analytics that will back up local parameters for your area. So when you see an annual savings number here, for switching out LEDs from incandescents, that annual savings number is based on the average cost per kilowatt hour for the utility that that user is using. So we have all 4,500 gas and electric utilities in our data set. We know their average cost per kilowatt hour or cost per therm. We know what the utility carbon intensity is. We have an estimate on average gas prices down to the county level. So when a user's getting these numbers, it is actually really a custom estimate for their household based on their local parameters. And we give people points because people like points, right? Points are fun. So here we give people points, but points are meaningful. So 1 point is equal to 1 pound of CO2 reduced per year or 10 gallons of water. So the points are actually tied directly to the metrics that we care about, the metrics we want to encourage. So the more points you get, the more impact that you've had. And that's the case for all of our actions, with the exception of our community and learning actions, which just get straight points. But every other action, the points are based on either carbon or water savings. And then we also have a couple of fuel switching bumps. We have a couple of extra points and a couple of the actions for fuel switching. So our analytics are really robust, which really gives the users a way to have meaningful information about what they're doing and both the impact and the savings that they can get. So once they choose the actions they want to do, then they can track that on their dashboard. They can see the actions they're working on, they can mark them complete. And up here we show them, if you complete all your actions, this is how much you're going to save per year and how much you're going to lower your impact from where you started. This is a little bit high. This is our demo site that we play with. So it's a little bit higher than normal, but the average family or household will save between $1,000 and $3,000 by taking the typical actions across the solutions pathway in those 5 categories of household emissions. And up here, they can track their progress and they can see their points and their savings. And we also have levels, which is fun. So once you do your energy profile, you can see your starting level. And then as you take actions, you can level up. And our goal is for everyone to move into the smart home and the plugged in and some of these higher levels over the next 10 years and beyond. And then finally, the most important part, which is community. So before I built the platform, I actually did this in my own backyard. So for 5 years, I helped to organize efforts in my own backyard in the city of Palo Alto with a mission to engage residents on climate solutions. And so what we found was really successful was when we brought people to work together in community with each other. So when we had folks, neighbors on a block, or friends that had a book club, or a circle of just friends, or maybe a scout troop or a faith community or a neighborhood group. When we had people coming together to learn about solutions together, it was really powerful. And they were much more likely to follow through and complete the actions that they discovered and put on their list. So here we have 2 ways for people on our platform to work together. We have teams, which are small. So think 5 to 10 households, smaller group. They can post a photo here. The team leader that creates the page actually gets a custom link to invite their friends or their book club members or the neighbors on their block to join them. And then they can track their progress, see their team members, see their standings, and they can also see each other's actions, what they're working on, which helps to encourage conversation. And then when they complete actions, they're encouraged to post. So they'll be able to see posts here of their team members' actions that are completed, and they can also create posts directly for the team. So this is a great way to bring people together to work together. But the other thing that we really encourage is not to have this all be through the tool. We actually encourage people to get together on Zoom for now and in future back in person. We encourage people to come together, have a potluck, kick this off as a team, as friends or neighbors, and then come back together once a month, have a potluck, talk about what you're doing, help each other out, set goals, and celebrate your successes. So our platform is really meant to actually facilitate resilience and community building and not be a tool that separates us from each other. So then we also have one other way for people to connect together, and that's what we call a community group. So community groups are meant to be larger. So think a school, a faith community, a neighborhood or an HOA, a soccer league. And so here, same thing, they can create a page. It's really easy. Anyone can create a page. And the group leader will also see this section here where they get that custom link to invite folks. And they can put in the photo and a welcome message to their group, and they can also see their impact, see their members, and then track their progress and actions and chat with each other. So that is the main part of the experience for the users. And the final page we have on here is regional. So wherever you live in the US, you'll actually have a page that shows you what your local region is doing. If it's one of our custom programs, it could be a city. If it's not, it's one of our regions, it's usually bigger. But you can see geographically what's happening in that area. What are some of the community groups or teams or neighborhoods or cities and that are participating in the program. So in addition to the free site, so this site is free, available, open to anyone in the US to use at the household level and to create a small team or a group. But in addition to that, we have custom programs for cities. So this is our Contra Costa County site in California. So we have counties that we work with. We have cities we work with. This is Fort Collins, Colorado. This is Charlottesville, Virginia. And then we also just started about 6 months ago working with organizations, universities, and companies. So now this is Arizona State University, who's launching in a couple of weeks. With their site. We've been working with the Episcopal Church now for a little while, and they're launching this to their congregations across the US, and we're also starting to work with companies as well. So we have our basic free sites available to everyone, and then we have these custom programs that we can help either a city or a company or organization, university, we can help them intentionally run programs, and we provide them administrative tools to run engagement, and then we also provide them coaching, support, and planning, and even direct engagement services if they want. Our team has many, many years of engagement experience. We've done a lot of grassroots organizing and community building, and so we are focused on helping not just to provide the platform, but also to provide the tools to be successful at engaging the community that's working with the platform. So the only other thing I'll add in really quickly is that we also are about to add in a resilience section onto our action grid. So in addition to our basic carbon savings categories, we're going to be adding in a resilience section. And then we also have a lot of youth programs. So we released a curriculum for grades 8 through 12 last October, and it's being really well received. And it has a couple of supplemental activities that a teacher could easily, quickly do in the classroom or even outside of the classroom as a homework assignment. Including a full virtual version of it where it's plug and play with a virtual environment with students. And it's being really well received, and it gives students an ability to learn about solutions along with learning about the problem. It can be so traumatic for youth to learn about climate solutions. And so to have the ability to also at the same time learn about the solutions pathway and all the opportunities we have to make a difference, explore their own household footprint, talk with their parents about some of the actions or their caregivers about some of the actions that they could take together as a family, and really give them some agency and some empowerment around climate solutions. And so here, we created this youth-friendly category with a bunch of actions that are more accessible to youth. And then finally, we're reaching out and working with any organizations or groups that want to really use this, whether it's a free version or whether they want a custom program. We want to connect with anyone who wants to bring this to their community and help their communities understand, what are these solutions? What can I do? People really want to help. They just don't know where to start. And so, and we are always improving our platform. If you play with it and you have an idea on some cool thing you think would make it better, please let us know. We are working towards having even more customer recommendations at the household level, where once you sign up with us, not only can you explore and search, but we'll have some very specific household custom recommendations on actions just for your household based on your profile and your priorities. Anyway, so that's the platform. I wanted to leave a couple minutes for questions. I'm so excited to be able to share this with everyone because we haven't really even announced that we're here, but we're here, and we're so excited to have a chance to spread the word and empower people on solutions.
Woo! Lisa, what a beautiful program you have there, and so detailed, and so right on. There are questions for you. So Tor Allen, he says, in addition, Tor Allen says, in addition to taking actions in one's own home, do any of the action items include civic engagement in the form of educating others or lobbying local or state policy to improve conditions for greater adoption?
Yes, and I didn't touch on that. I was trying to focus on the clean energy home thing, but we do. So I come to this as a grassroots climate activist. I organized with 350.org for 6 years. So as a volunteer, not as a staff, but I've done a lot of climate organizing, and I come to this as an activist. I come to this as with the challenge of how do we reach beyond the choir? How do we reach beyond those of us that are, ready to be an activist? Because most people are not ready to be activists, but we also still want, once they get excited about all the opportunities they have to take action, we want to have the ability for people to learn about the other opportunities that they have. So we have an action called Have a Say, which is all about getting involved, either at your city or your state or writing your congressperson. And then my favorite action is talk about solutions. So talking about climate is hard, but talking about climate solutions with your neighbors or your friends is a happy conversation. People want to know, they want to hear what the solutions are. And so we give people some talking points on how they can talk about solutions with others and have a really positive conversation, and then get them engaged around and excited about taking action. So we have volunteer for a local effort, and then we have a bunch of learning actions here. Learn about solutions pathway, learn about the extra benefits of solutions. So one of the things that's not in here yet that we're planning to add is on the Have a Say action, we're going to create a resource of just some learning information around, okay, I want to have a say, but what do I have a say about? What are some of the typical policies that cities pass that are effective? And so we're going to add in sample city policies, sample state policies, sample federal policies, and so that it gives people that information of, okay, I want to do more than just have a say. I want to learn what else is working. What can I advocate for? What can I push my council members to do? So that's coming, and that's really important. So thank you for that excellent question.
Woo! Okay, this is very comprehensive. Lisa, this is a question from Alison. Lisa, can folks see the emissions factors in the back end? For example, Silicon Valley Clean Energy or East Bay Community Energy variations on mixes selected. So how granular and how visible is it?
So what we have, so as I mentioned, my professional background is data analytics and modeling. We literally spent 2 years creating a really robust system to drive this. And so it's a little bit proprietary, but we have documentations here on our site under policies and documentation that provide the basic emission factors that we use in general, and then the emissions factors for any, as well as how we calculate our action estimates here. But as far as emissions factors for a specific utility, we don't, that's not visible to the user, but I'd be happy to share with someone offline on that. So for all of the utilities that we're able to, particularly wherever we have a custom partner, we make sure that each utility has the accurate information on carbon intensity. And then in areas around the US where we don't necessarily have a partner and that information is harder to find, we occasionally use the eGrid backup.
All right. So then let's see here. Tor Allen asks, studying the impact of climate change can be depressing. Climate solutions are empowering. What information, videos, or articles do you use to cover the basics of global warming and climate change, i.e. defining the problem?
So you're welcome to come and check it out. Like I said, anyone can go to werenew.net here and you can explore our actions. You don't have to create an account to check them out. So here we have 2 climate actions. One is what and how. And this the answers to the most common questions. So the approach here is not to be scientific. The approach here is to be really easy to follow, talking in human people language. So it's like, you know, what are my questions? What causes climate change? How can a few degrees make such a difference? So we just walk through each one in a very simple and easy to follow way that makes it possible for people to understand easily. But not only that, they're likely to be more comfortable talking about it after they read it in a really basic format like this that explains it simply. So that is our approach. And so the other one that we have is more about the timeline and impacts. So that one is sort of the FAQ, what's happening and how is it happening? And then this one is specifically about timeline and impacts, where we talk about the urgency. A lot of people, I've done a lot of research around, you know, where people, what do they understand, what's missing? What's missing is what are the solutions and how quickly we need to act. So we have a specific section right here just talking about the timeline and the urgency of action now. And then we have a section on the impacts that people care about, that really resonate with folks that are gonna, people care about sea level rise and wildfires and water supply and food supply. So here we talk about each one in a way that's easy to understand.
This is wonderfully comprehensive. As a former science teacher, I tip my hat. Well done. You know, yeah, I appreciate it coming from a place of passion and, you know, activism. So questions here. So people want to know how to get it into their own community. You know, you're getting a whole bunch of like, yay, awesome kind of things over here. So like Kendra is an example. Yes, to David's question, how can I get this in my community? How much to personalize? And Tom says, are you helping us set up group purchases?
So if you want to get this set up in your community, please email me or call me, either works. And I'd be happy to learn more about your community and what is going to be the best fit for you. As I said, there's a free version, anyone can use it. And then the custom programs, they're there as well. They're low cost. They're not no cost, but they're low cost. We're making this available as low cost as possible so that we can scale it quickly.
Okay, Laurie Mott wrote, there's a go to drivecleanbayarea.org. Apparently there's a place for pricing on EVs.